Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Tuesday, June 16th, 2026 council meeting. So I'd like to call this to order, and Councilmember Jacobson is going to lead us in the invocation.
Thank you, Mayor. We gather here today to serve our city well, with open minds and purpose as our guide. May wisdom fill the choices we make here, and keep good judgment walking by our side. For Sugar Land, may we work with care, with teamwork guiding all that we address, to build a home to last throughout the years, with thoughtful plans that serve our city best. We thank our first responders for their work, who show up when our neighbors are in need. They do their jobs with calm and steady skill, and to their oath of service they do heed. Now bless this meeting, keep our focus true, and help us do the work that we must do. Amen.
Thank you. Please remain standing for the pledge. I'd like to call up Abir Magnogia. He is a Eagle Scout from Troop 797, and he recently completed his Eagle with the Parks Department, which consisted of improving the walkway entry and maintenance accessibility around the rain barrels inside the Memorial Park Butterfly Garden. So thank you for that.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Let's grab a quick picture with council. I'd also like to recognize Representative Lalani's interns who are here with us. So if y'all could please stand. I visited with them earlier. They toured City Hall, and they're attending our council meeting tonight. So thank y'all for being here. Next item is 5, public comment. At this time, we'll open public comment for non-public hearing related items. Linda, do we have anyone signed up to speak?
No, Mayor, we do not.
Okay. Is there anyone who would like to speak who is not signed up? Okay, public comment is now closed. Next item is 6, consent agenda. All items on consent agenda are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion unless the council member wishes to remove an item. Okay, we have a motion to approve by Miller. Okay, a second by Single. Let's vote at this time. And the motion passes 6-0 with one council member absent. Next item is 7, public hearings. We have one item under consideration. And so that is receive and hear all persons desiring to be heard on the proposed water well drilling permit application with Mr. Car Wash. Consideration of an action on authorization of a water well drilling permit application with Mr. Car Wash. We have Margo Williams, our water resource manager.
Hello, good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here to seek approval for to seek authorization for Mr. Car Wash to receive approval for a well permit application. Just a brief overview as to what I will go over in this presentation. After the presentation, we will have a public hearing, as the mayor mentioned. We will go over just a brief overview of groundwater regulations, our review process for well approvals, compliance within our GRP and how this specific well fits into that GRP. And then also too, we will go over some details from the Mr. Car Wash well permit request specifically. So for groundwater regulations, those are set by the Fort Bend Subsidence District. As of 2014, our regulations have been, we are capped at 70% groundwater and 30% alternative water or non-groundwater sources. The city has proactively planned for these regulations and future ones as well through creating our groundwater reduction plan or GRP. That was created back in 2008, and then we did adopt our integrated water resources plan, which is our long-range water planning document back in 2019. So a little bit of background on this specific well request from Mr. Car Wash. Mr. Car Wash does currently have a well that is drilled. It is used to operate the car wash as a whole. They do have a city utility connection that runs the restroom. However, this well is currently not permitted by the city. City ordinance requires them to obtain a permit by the city, typically before the well is drilled. And then also this well was not also permitted by the Subsidence District. So in order to get them into compliance, they had to obtain permits from the city, which we are doing tonight, and then the Fort Bend Subsidence District, that was approved back in February. And then because the well is within our city limits, they do have to join our groundwater reduction plan. That's a requirement by the Subsidence District. So the process for well approvals, as I mentioned, we do have a city ordinance that prohibits the drilling of wells of any type within city limits. However, city council can grant exceptions. That does require council action. So you can end up approving drilling a water well when other sources of water are impractical, or if it's a replacement well. But because Mr. Car Wash already had the well drilled, this is just a process to make sure they have the correct permit in place. So they did end up submitting a well permit application, and it is located at the address you see on the slide. We did add that for clarification purposes. Like I mentioned, they do have the permit from the Subsidence District, and then staff has reviewed all of the well details as submitted on the application by the car wash. So again, to clarify, this request is to prove a currently existing drilled well. This is just to give them the green stamp of approval for them incorporating this well into our GRP. They did estimate about 10 million gallons of water usage from this well per year. That will not adversely affect our GRP. I know that sounds like a big, scary number, but for context, in 2025 to 26 permit term, the whole GRP actually pumped 5.7 billion gallons of groundwater. So 10 million gallons will not adversely affect the GRP. So with that recommendation, utility staff recommends the city council authorize the approval of the water well drilling permit for existing well number 3828 as submitted by Mr. Car Wash.
At this time, I'd like to open the public hearing. Do we have anyone who's filled out a request to comment card?
No, Mayor, we do not.
Is there anyone who would like to speak who has not filled out a card? The public hearing is now closed. Do we have any questions or comments? Councilmember Single.
Thank you, Mayor. I have two questions. One is, what does the participation in the groundwater reduction plan mean? Would that mean they would be using 70% groundwater and 30% water supplied by the city, or they would not be bound by any of those?
So yes, the approval for them to join our GRP is actually the next item. But to answer your question, when a entity joins our GRP, the GRP as a whole must convert to that 70% groundwater, 30% alternative water. So we take everyone's well, whether if it's well usage, that includes city wells that are in the GRP, HOAs, POAs, golf courses, commercial businesses, all of that kind of gets put into one bucket. And then we look at who's using groundwater, who's using surface water, reclaimed water, raw water off of Oyster Creek. So it's more of a collective conversion compared to an individual participant.
Okay, follow.
Follow?
Yeah. So the other question I had was, if another business were to apply today, what benchmark would you adopt? Would you approve that similarly, or just because they have drilled without permit, you are approving it?
Really, so this kind of follows a historic precedence that we've set where we have had other entities where they do have a well that's already drilled, and then they just have to go through the process of getting a well permit, then they join our GRP. However, if it was a new entity, we would prefer that they start from the process from the beginning and getting a well permit from the city first, and then we'll work through that process type of thing. But we will evaluate if it does adversely affect the GRP, and we'll make decisions based off of that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Jacobson?
Thank you, Mayor. Margot, is it not feasible to just buy the water from the city through a commercial connection?
So that is something that would end up being an option. So they do have the current connection with the city to run the restrooms. However, knowing that they have a well, we were trying to get them into compliance as soon as possible.
Follow
Type
up?
of thing.
Follow up?
So abandoning the well and using a commercial connection doesn't make any sense?
Historically, that has not been the precedence that we have followed with the other situations that are similar to this. But if that is something that council would like for us to explore, we can explore that with legal's guidance as well. We have not ran that by legal yet to see if that is an option we can explore.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Councilmember Betcher?
Thank you, Mayor. So how long has this well been in operation, just for context?
So Mr. Carwash could not give us a clear, definitive answer. The subsidence district, they were also unaware of the well. The car wash ended up bringing it up to our attention that they were not in compliance, but we estimate probably about 10 years that they have not been in compliance with city ordinance regulations and the subsidence district.
Okay, and then follow up.
Follow up?
Is there a standard procedure, like if we annex another part of outside Sugar Land to bring them into Sugar Land, and they didn't have a permit, is that something that they formally have to go through when they come into the city?
Yes.
And it's a pretty well-documented thing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then
Yes.
just to clarify, for this item, we're simply just taking the existing well and approving it to catch up the permitting to compliance?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Watley?
Thank you, Mayor. I kind of am on the same plane, I think, as Councilmember Jacobson is, with subsidence looming over us and trying to comply with everything we're doing. I would question the oversight. And this is one well, that's fine. But how many, I know you don't know this, how many more are there? And how much oversight would we need to have if we keep doing this? If we bring them into the city, it's taken care of. So I kind of think if we keep permitting wells as they come across, and we don't put them on city services when they're available, we kind of might be opening a can of worms that we don't need to open. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So would staff look into maybe bring them online rather than keeping on permitting wells that we can't have any oversight?
We can definitely look into that if that's a direction that council wants to go towards, and looking at putting them to a commercial connection. I know they already have the infrastructure in place to run and operate the car wash based off of the well, so we can look into that for sure if that's the direction we want to go.
Councilmember Jacobson?
So is there some sort of a pumpage fee that we charge, or is the water being pulled for free?
So right now, they are not paying anything on the water that they are pumping out of that well. However, if we were to bring them into our GRP, they will pay a GRP fee that is listed in our city ordinance, as well as additional fees on top of that as listed in the ordinance.
Follow up, please.
Follow up?
How does the cost of the pumpage fee, or whatever we call it, versus just buying the water through a connection? How does that? Because we don't want to put them out of business. I hope you know that. Mm-hmm. But I'm just wondering if it costs the same and we can do the 70-30, yes, no?
So we did end up looking at what their new costs would end up being when they would join and pay those fees for having a well permitted through the city. We did not look at the commercial cost of what that could look like to weigh those options, but we did provide an estimate based off of what they would be paying to get this well back into compliance and what that would look like to pay into the utility fund.
Councilmember Batcher?
Thank you, Mayor. On a similar note, how is the wastewater being treated with this? Is it being treated on the site, or is it going into the Sugarlands facilities?
I imagine it's going to the Sugarland facilities where, to my knowledge, there's no reuse going on site for the business.
Okay.
Do you know how much they may have invested in drilling the well? Just sort of curious about.
I'm sorry, can you
Do you know
repeat?
how much a new well, a well, it costs to drill and complete a well in order to hook up? How much money
That really kind of just depends on the size of the well. It depends what type of pump you want to put in the well, the depth of the water. It varies, type of thing.
Councilmember Jacobson?
Okay, when we charge for a connection, doesn't the fee, we charge by the water purchased, but that also goes for the wastewater treatment, right?
Correct. If they have a water meter, then they are being charged water and wastewater.
Okay, follow.
Follow
So
up.
that they've been paying for at least 10 years, they haven't been paying at all. They haven't been paying the wastewater to treat the wastewater either for the last X number of years.
Correct. We can confirm whether or not how they're connected up to the wastewater system. I would add, you asked a question about how many more are there out there. The subsidence district has gone through an effort over the last, I would say 5 to 10 years, really going out, and they are driving the city, they are driving the roads and looking for these wells. And so through the years, we have had a number of these come up in the city. I would say that it's probably pretty slim how many of them are left. I think this one is actually pretty unique in our city. And so I don't think that there are a lot more. Like Margot said, this is a very small volume when we consider the overall impact of our GRP. And so similar to the last couple that we've brought, that it's really to pull them completely onto city water, in our opinion, doesn't make sense. They would be paying significantly more. It's a car wash. We don't need them to wash cars with treated water. And so it's really, when we look back at our IWRP, one of our objectives was optimizing our water resources and using the right water for the right use. And so we feel like at the staff level that this well is appropriate, and we would prefer probably not to bring them onto city water.
Okay, Councilmember.
So I follow your last logic, which is because it's a car wash, but I want to make sure that the same yardstick is used for all other business.
Yes.
They are not getting any special treatment just because they drilled without permit. Because in my mind, we are kind of, giving them incentive because they drilled without permit, and that should not happen.
Correct. No.
And if there is a way to charge them for the wastewater, that should be looked into.
Sure. We can look into that.
Councilmember Jacobson?
Mayor, I would like to make a motion to table until Margot and her team could find out the questions that we've asked. What would the cost be to the customer of buying water from us versus pumping? And then also, just out of consideration for all the wastewater we've been treating, if it's not being reclaimed, then it's just going right into our sanitary sewers, which is how many, what do you say, how many million gallons? 10 million, we've been treating 10 million a year for a decade or more for free. I'd like to know all those numbers before, so my motion is to table until you're able to find that information.
I can provide a little bit of context on the rate, if I may. Our GRP fee is about $3.45, $3.55 per 1,000 gallons for the GRP. So for wells in our GRP, they pay about $3.55 per 1,000 gallons. If we were to bring them onto our water system, they would pay that fee. They would also pay a water fee. So per 1,000 gallons, again, another $3 or so per 1,000 gallons. So it's significantly more if we were to bring them onto our city water. But we could.
Okay. Mike?
Yeah, Mayor, just just so we can get some clarification, because I want to make sure staff has good, guidance from council. Definitely support the tabling of it to get these questions answered, but I'm hearing from the council, the issue of being out of compliance and not paying for the issues, and just maybe some policy change in how we've done things in the past of making sure that this doesn't happen and that there's financial ramifications for handling business in the manner that this has been handled. Am I getting that correctly? Yeah. Okay, perfect. Okay.
And is there any opportunity to get any compensation for plus or minus 10 years of charges that they didn't pay that they should have, had they gotten approval before they drilled the well?
Short answer, yes. I have talked with legal on what our basis is for back billing. There are some specific details type of thing, but we do have direction from legal that we can pursue that. Again, precedence-wise, we haven't historically done that, but like Katie mentioned, this is a unique situation. So if that's something that we would like to look into, we can coordinate further with legal. They've said typically about 3 years worth of back billing, because we don't have specific monthly usage for that well from Mr. Car Wash. They've only been able to give us estimates up until this point. So we can look further into that and bring that back as well, type of thing. So council has all of the information.
Yeah, please bring that back as well.
Okay.
Any further comments or questions? Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Jacobson with a second by Single to table. Can I get a vote at this time? Do we have to do a hand vote? Okay, we have to do a hand vote. And the motion passes 6-0. And you feel like you have clear direction from council to what you need to bring it back to us?
Yes, I do.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you. And next item, 8, contracts and agreements. The groundwater reduction plan participation agreement. Consideration of an action on the approval of the groundwater reduction plan participation agreement between the City of Sugar Land and Mr. Car Wash to join the City of Sugar Land Groundwater Reduction Plan, GRP, with Margo Williams.
Motion to table pending the same report.
Yes, okay. Yes, we have a motion by Jacobson with a second by Miller to table the corresponding consideration. Let's vote at this time. Okay, and the motion passes 6-0. Okay, thank you, Margo. Next, item 9, ordinances and resolutions. We have 4 items under consideration tonight. Our first item, 9A, is first consideration of an action on City of Sugar Land Ordinance Number 2402, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sugar Land, Texas, amending the Code of Ordinances by renaming Article 8, Water and Wastewater, of Chapter 5, Public Property and Services, to Water, Wastewater, and Stormwater, adding a new Division 13, Stormwater Coalition, to the renamed article, establishing Stormwater Coalition fees, and setting forth other provisions related thereto. And we have Christian Eubanks, our Environmental Manager.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I'm here to discuss the Stormwater Coalition and associated fee ordinance. We've taken this to Intergovernmental Relations Committee, and we're now looking for council approval. So I'm going to start by providing some context where we are today, and then go over the coalition, what it is, run through the partnership details, the responsibilities, fees, and then provide our recommendation. So every 5 years, the TCQ issues an MS4 permit, which is designed to manage stormwater quality. The city applied in February of 2025, and we were approved in October. Currently, the city is fully independent and compliant with these stormwater regulations. Historically, we've managed and funded our stormwater compliance independently. There are other water districts within the city limits that are also required to have MS4 permit coverage, and we'll get into that in a second. So a coalition is a partnership recognized by the TCQ between entities in the same geographic area to jointly manage stormwater. The city was approached by these mud districts early 2025 to form this coalition. Some of the key features are a joint stormwater plan, divided tasks based on capacity, along with joint liability. So here's a breakdown on the division of responsibilities and tasks outlined in the stormwater plan. The purpose or the point of this is to show the city is already conducting the majority of the primary activities for all of Sugar Land city limits, where the MUDs are primarily focusing on maintaining their stormwater assets, responding to complaints, and participating in training. So the city is not taking ownership of any stormwater assets owned by these MUD districts, so simply to remove duplication of efforts. To formalize the coalition and set the fee, an interlocal agreement was drafted. This outlines the parameters, defines responsibilities, and sets the fee or outlines the fee. I'll go through that in more detail in the next slide. We included an indemnification clause to limit risk and mitigate liability to the city. And by forming this coalition, it enables potential for joint project coordination and funding opportunities between the city and these coalition members. So we're charging a fee which is intended to cover the costs associated to the development and maintenance of this coalition. These are things such as legal coordination, document drafting, council and TCQ coordination, along with the additional staff time. So this would be a one-time $5,000 application fee and a $2,500 per year annual fee per MUD district or per coalition member. So kind of in summary, the city and these other entities hold these stormwater permits and need to abide by them. They need to comply with them. Because these permits overlap geographically, this coalition will eliminate duplication and allow everything to be managed as one system. So the ordinance and the interlocal agreement formalize the coalition, they formalize the fee, and they protect the city from, it protects the city from additional liability. So next step, we're now seeking approval, first reading of the ordinance. If approved, second reading during the July 7th council meeting, and the interlocal agreement for council consideration during the July 21st council meeting.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Councilmember Watley?
Thank you, Mayor. So do we know how many MUDs will be joining us, and what if they don't join?
No, we don't know how many other MUDs would like to join. These are the two MUD districts that approached us. This is, you know, the TCQ doesn't force people to join coalitions or anything like that, but we thought it would be a good idea. There are other MUD districts and lids within the city, but we are only interested in MUD districts at this time based on their limited stormwater assets.
Follow up?
Follow up.
Thank you. I think it's a great idea. I think it overwhelmingly brings everyone together on the same page. I would hope that we would encourage all the MUDs to join at some point, and I don't know if the fee is one of the things that keep the MUDs out of it, but I would encourage us to look at ways to make everyone a part of this so we could be consistent. Good job.
Thank you.
Okay. And Councilmember, Miller, you made a motion to approve? Yeah, okay. And the second by Councilmember Single. Let's vote at this time. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you, Christian. Our next three items, 9B, C, and D, will be presented by Michelle McCrimmon, our Assistant City Manager. So the first item, 9B, first and final consideration. Consideration of an action on City of Sugar Land Ordinance Number 2407, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of combination tax and revenue certificates of obligations, Series 2026, setting certain parameters for the certificates, authorizing any pricing officer to approve the amount, interest rate, price, and terms thereof, and certain other procedures and provisions relating thereto. Michelle?
Great. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, council members, and Mike. Just to provide a little bit of background on this first item, which is on the certificates of obligation. We've talked about these before. They are primarily planned for $15.5 million of airport capital improvement projects and then about $1.7 million for some improvements at the Park at Eldridge Public Improvement District. Just a reminder, certificates of obligation or COs, voter approval is not required for these. And this is just a little bit more detail that you all have seen before of how these funds will be used. Part of this process is to publish the notice of issuance, and so you all approved this on April 21st, so that's why this looks familiar to you. We have met all the state law requirements for the notification. It was published in the Fort Bend Independent on April 29th and May 6th, and then was also posted on the city's website as required. As a part of this process, when we issue our bonds, we do get credit ratings. So we were rated by Standard & Poor, or S&P, and Fitch. And both of them affirmed our AAA rating, which is fantastic. One point of good news that I had shared with you, but I always love to celebrate this, is we had a negative outlook that was issued to us 2 years ago, and they revised that to a stable outlook. So we're really happy about that. And then S&P affirmed their stable outlook on us as well. So this ordinance is a little bit different in the sense that it's authorizing issuance and setting parameters. We really wanted to provide as much flexibility as possible, just given the current market conditions. And so we established this sale as a negotiated sale versus a competitive sale. And this particular item sets out various parameters of that sale. So listing out a maximum principal amount not exceeding $17,275,000, which is to fund all of those projects that you saw earlier. Issuing it with a maximum true interest rate of 4.25%, and that the maturity would not exceed 21 years. We were able to today successfully price these bonds. So what I'm coming to you is also presenting the results of our sale today. All of these are within those parameters, so this item is still true and needs approval. But our total issuance was $17,421,000. The bonds were issued at a premium, so it includes all of those project costs, cost of issuance, and then the underwriter's discount. Our true interest cost was 4.1%, and it's a 20-year term. And so we'll close and receive all of these funds on July 15th. So our recommendation is to approve Ordinance 2407 for the issuance of these COs bonds.
Questions, comments? Motion? Okay. Motion to approve by Watley, a second by Betcher. Let's vote at this time. And the motion passes 6-0. Next item, 9C, first and final consideration. Consideration of an action on City of Sugar Land Ordinance Number 2408, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of general obligation and or refunding bonds, Series 2026, setting certain parameters for the bonds, authorizing any pricing officer to approve the amount, interest rate, price, and terms thereof, and certain other procedures and provisions relating thereto.
Great, thank you. We are switching now to our general obligation bonds. These are voter-authorized debt issuances, and this particular issuance is funding $74.375 million from the November 2024, or excuse me, the total is $74,375,000. $69.825 million is from the November 2024 bond election, and the second piece is about $4.55 million, which is the last piece of the November 2019 bond package. This was the last bit for the animal shelter. This is just a summary of where we're at with our 2024 bond proposition. You can see that the total amount is $350 million. We issued $25.65 million last year. We're issuing $69.825 million, and so we have a remaining authorized amount remaining of just over $254.5 million. And as I mentioned, this piece will also zero out the remaining amount from the 2019 proposition. This is a list of all of the projects that will be funded with these GO bonds. You can see a large chunk is for the Public Safety Training Facility Phase 3, and then the animal shelter, and then several drainage projects as well, amongst other projects. And all of these were included in our fiscal year 26 CIP plan. This was rated along with our CO bonds. So again, bragging again that we were raised from negative to stable. So, but it's the same rating as the CO that I went over. And similar to the CO, just due to the uncertainty in market conditions, negotiated sale versus competitive sale, and then this establishes the parameters with a maximum principal amount of $74.375, which is the project costs, maximum true interest rate not exceeding 4.2%, and then the maturity would not exceed 21 years. The preliminary official statement did include the potential to refund, but just due to the current market conditions, there wasn't sufficient savings in that. So this is purely just issuing new money. And so we did have a successful sale. The total issuance was $74.951 million. That included all the project costs of issuance, and then the underwriter's discount. And our true interest cost was 3.8%, which is slightly lower than the CO bonds. 20-year term, and then these will close on July 15th. What was really interesting is we had two buyers that placed orders for just over $63 million. So I think that just is a testament to our AAA rating in today's market. And so our recommendation is to approve Ordinance 2408. And happy to take any questions.
Okay, any comments or questions? Okay, if not, we've got, the motion to approve by Councilmember Single and a second by Councilmember Miller. Let's please vote. The motion passes 6-0. Thank you, Michelle.
Great, thank you.
Next, item 10, City Council and City Manager reports. First, we'll hear from Councilmember Single.
Oh, Mayor, we have one more item.
Oh, one more? I was rushing through here. Okay, sorry. Yes. Item D, first and final consideration. Consideration of an action on City of Sugar Land Ordinance Number 2409, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of waterworks and sewer system revenue and/or refunding bonds, Series 2026, setting certain parameters for the bonds, authorizing any pricing officer to approve the amount, interest rate, price, and terms thereof, and certain other procedures and provisions relating thereto.
Great, thank you. So now we're switching to the waterworks and sewer system revenue bonds. These are supporting all of the water and wastewater related capital projects. There's no impact to property taxes on this. Everything is covered by the revenue service or the utility service revenues, primarily from user fees. And all of these funded projects are within the fiscal year 26 adopted budget. This is just a list of the projects that will be funded with these bonds. You can see over half of it is Track 2 wastewater improvements amongst other projects there. For the bond rating, we receive ratings from both Standard & Poor, S&P, and Fitch, and both affirmed our AA rating with stable outlook. So that's great news for that system. And so this ordinance 2409 is similar to the others, negotiated sale versus a competitive sale. And then this ordinance outlines the parameters for this issuance. And just like the GO bond, this included the potential to refund, but we just didn't see the rates in the market. So this is just new money bonds. We also successfully priced those today, so the total issuance was about $41.59 million, issued at a premium and includes the project costs, cost of issuance, and underwriter's discount, and the true interest cost was 3.96%. 20 years, and then we'll also close on these funds on July 15th. And in this case, wanted to just highlight, we had a single buyer place an order for almost half of the bonds that were issued. So again, just I think a testament to the Sugar Land name. And so our recommendation is to approve ordinance 2409, but happy to take any questions.
Okay. Questions, comments, motion? Okay. Motion by Councilmember Miller, second by Councilmember Single. Let's vote at this time. Did everybody vote? Okay, there we go. Okay, the motion passes 6-0. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you very much. And Mayor, if I may, we do have our financial advisor, Joe Morrow from Hilltop Securities, and then our bond counsel, Justin Hicks from Hunton Andrews Kurtz. So I just want to thank them publicly for all their help for this issue.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so now we're ready for item 10, the City Council and City Manager reports. Councilmember?
Thank you, Mayor. So it was a busy period in the last 2 weeks. I'll just go through the one or two key ones. So attended a function celebrating 150 years of our independence, which was organized by Sugar Land Heritage Foundation. It was a great function attended by other council member and mayor yourself. Also attended the Fort Bend ISD update, which was today. It was very informative again, looking forward to what changes are happening in Fort Bend ISD. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Miller?
Went to the FIFA store opening. It was exciting to see all those people there. Holy cow. Hope they bought something. And the last week and a half I've been with family at South Padre and then seeing my son take command.
Great. Councilmember Jacobson?
Thank you, Mayor. Did a lot of stuff, but the most inspirational was the topping out ceremony of the MD Anderson 500,000 square feet building they're putting up right by Smart Financial Center, and that really was a great ceremony. I really enjoyed that.
Thank you. Councilmember Betcher?
All right, I also spent last week in Florida visiting family, but I was able to attend a couple events. So the MD Anderson topping out ceremony, the state of Sugar Land, which was the Greater Houston Women's Chamber of Commerce, which the mayor spoke at and gave an update. And then also the Dave & Buster's grand opening in River Park. If you guys remember the old Gander Mountain, there's now a new Dave & Buster's, as well as a pickleball place. So if you're free, go check it out. It's great to see Sugar Land redeveloping.
Thank you. Councilmember Watley?
Thank you. A couple of things in District 1. The mayor and I went to the Galaxy All-Ability Park opening in Imperial Park. Commissioner Andy Myers invested in our city. The county, along with Andy Myers, put this park in over there, and it's fabulous. You got to go see it. It's a Galaxy All-Ability Park. It's for everybody in our city. Check it out. And then, like Sanjay said, Sugar Land Heritage Foundation had a great 250 celebration in District 1. So, way to go, District 1. Way to go, City of Sugar Land.
Thank you. And I attended the 2026 Hurricane Season Roundtable at the Fort Bend Emergency Operations Center. I presented a proclamation at the naming of the St. Luke's Patient Tower and Pavilion, and I had an interview by Fox 26 right out here in Town Square about FIFA. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Our watch party for tomorrow has been canceled due to weather, but it's being moved to Friday. So Friday is a full day of FIFA parties at 2, 5, and 7:30. Check out our social for that. I'd also like to publicly congratulate Chief Laura, who has been selected for the very prestigious FBI National Academy. He'll be going early July. And for perspective, less than 1% of senior law enforcement officials are selected for this academy. So it's a very big deal for our community and for our chief. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, Chief Laura. Next item is 11, closed executive session. Item A, close executive session as authorized by Chapter 551 Texas Government Code in accordance with Section 551.087, deliberation regarding economic development negotiations for the purpose of deliberation regarding the offer of a financial or other incentive to a business prospect the city seeks to have locate, stay, or expand in or near the city, and that will be by Jennifer Alexander, our Business Development Manager. So we'll now adjourn the regular meeting and convene in closed executive session. Thank you all for coming tonight.